Welcome to the Pub Sports Radio MLB Closing Time Show. It is Tuesday, September the 14th. Ian Cameron and Conor Mack with you, ready to break down the Tuesday MLB card. Jose Bouquet, normally with us on Tuesdays. He will be back, I should say, tomorrow with us instead. He's doing a lot of work behind the scenes here at Pub Sports Radio, a lot of production work. So he's going to join us tomorrow instead, and he'll be with us tomorrow and Thursday. Friday, Sharpie will be on the show. I will not be on the show, by the way, on Friday. It's a Hamilton Tiger Cats CFL home game day for me, so I got to leave early that day for the game. So it'll be Sharpie and Conor Mack Friday on the MLB Closing Time Show, but they'll have you covered for the baseball slate. Hopefully we have you covered for the baseball slate. 5-0 sweep for me in baseball last night. Really nice Monday night. Conor, I think you had a nice night, didn't you?
Yeah, it was good. Rays did it, and then I made the bet on the D-backs in the end. So 4-2, but yeah, it was all right. I might go with the Rays here. We'll get into it. Probably going to catch flack from all our Canadian guys here.
Yeah, small card and big profits. That's what it was last night for me in MLB. Giants and over against the Padres, cha-ching, cha-ching. Marlins against the Nationals. And then we had the Mariners in the over in the late night hours against the Red Sox. So nice night overall in MLB. But that's yesterday. What are we going to do today for an encore now? That's where the focus is. Let's get it going. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Two lefties here. Wade Miley, Dylan Peters, the matchup. The Reds minus 150 to minus 160, road favorites. The total 8.5 here across the board in this game. Of course, the Reds still in that battle with Padres, Cardinals, Mets for the second wild card spot, trying to nail that spot down. Wade Miley on the mound for the Reds here in this start. He got hit pretty hard a couple of starts ago by the Cardinals, but bounced back strong last time out. 1 run in 7 innings against the Chicago Cubs. The Reds still have a good record with Miley on the mound. 5-2 in his last 7 starts, 17-9 overall on the season. 2.91 ERA for Miley coming into this outing. We have Dylan Peters on the mound for the Pirates coming into this start with a solid numbers, believe it or not. He hasn't pitched that bad. 3 runs or less in 4 straight starts, and just given up, looks like 8 runs in the last 4 starts for Peters. So he's been solid. He has not faced the Reds this year. Wade Miley has faced the Pirates twice, and he hasn't given up a run in 13 innings pitched against the Pittsburgh Pirates this year. And the Reds won both of those starts that Wade Miley made against Pittsburgh. The Reds won both of those games 14-1 and 10-0, a combined score of 24-1 in those 2 games. I'm going to take the Reds' first 5 innings here. I'm a little bit surprised this line's this cheap. I thought they'd be closer to minus 200 in this game, the Cincinnati Reds. They're only minus 150, minus 160, and that means you can get the first 5 minus a half run at a rather inexpensive minus 125 to lay a half a run with the Reds in the first 5 innings. I think that's where I'm going to go in this one. I think that's a cheap enough price. Miley's completely and utterly shut down and dominated the Pirates this year. First 5 minus a half for me. Conor Mack, what do you think with the Reds Pirates?
Yeah, you talked about Miley pitching good against the Pirates. If you think he could do this again, I mean, I've looked at it the last month and a few times, is the Pirates team total under 3.5. It's minus 115. And you're right, Peters, I think he could go 4 or 5. And one thing I just keeps bringing me up, while I can't take the Reds, is they've just struggled against lefties. So I'm on the first 5 under 4.5 minus 115 here. I think Miley can shut down the Pirates, and I hope Peters can pitch well enough. These Reds just can't hit lefties well the last few months. So give me the first 5 under 4.5 here, minus 115.
Yeah, there's some truth to that, and I think that's why the price is a little cheaper than we would have thought. I think if they squeak out a couple of runs, they can. I hope they can. They did bash Happ in one game recently, but you're right. Mm-hmm. Other than that, the lefty production against lefties, against southpaws for this Cincinnati Reds lineup hasn't always been there from one game to the next. We'll see if they can do enough damage against Dylan Peters and the Pirates here tonight. The next game, it's Milwaukee and Detroit. It's the battle of the Peraltas. It's the Peralta war here in this one. Freddie Peralta for the Brewers and Fast Willie Peralta for the Detroit Tigers here in this one. The Brewers minus 210, road favorites, 9 the total in this game. Don't really have I do kind of lean over the total here. I'm worried again about Freddie Peralta. He's gone way past his innings limit. Or not his innings limit, but way more beyond the number of innings he's thrown in his career at this point. and you're seeing the effects of it. This has not been a sharp Freddie Peralta for Milwaukee in the last 3 starts. He's given up 3 runs, 5 hits, 2 innings to St. Louis. The next time against St. Louis, 4 runs, 3 hits, 2 innings. Last start against Philadelphia, not good. 3 runs, 4 hits, lasted only 3.2 innings, and really laboring as well. Look at how early in the year he's going 15 pitches per inning, 12 pitches per inning, 11 pitches per inning. Look at these last 3 starts, Connor Mack, the jump. 21.5 pitches per inning, 26.5 pitches per inning, 22.1 pitches per inning in his last 3 starts. This guy is laboring. He's having got ducks on the pond every inning for the most part. He has definitely hit a wall, I think, Freddie Peralta. So I'm not in a rush to lay minus 200 here with Milwaukee. And one thing about this Tigers team, Connor Mack, is they're as feisty as all get out. Just ask the Rays. They won 2 or 3 over the weekend against Tampa Bay in Detroit. They're battling. Willie Peralta kind of fits the MO of this Tigers team. He just battles. It's not pretty, but he goes out there and he's been solid, effective enough. Given up 9 total runs in his last 18.1 innings of work, which isn't bad. However, I don't know if he's going to shut down this Brewers team, though, completely. You look at Milwaukee, they're crushing the ball, 11 runs in the finale against Cleveland, 10 runs in the opener against Cleveland. Righty pitching has been mashed lately by this Milwaukee team. They have done an incredible job hitting righties for the better part of the last, I would say, 2 weeks to a month. So I do think they can do enough damage. I know Willie Peralta's hung in there. His numbers are decent, but I don't think he's going to shut down this Milwaukee team completely. And on the flip side, with Freddie Peralta for the Brewers, I don't like the way he's trending. He's thrown way more innings than he ever has in the past in a single year. And I think he's definitely showing signs of fatigue, wearing down, just hitting a wall for a guy that's not used to throwing this many innings. So when I look at this game, I'm looking over the total. I think 9. I think you could get there maybe with this game going over the number. What do you think, Connor Mack, with Milwaukee, Detroit?
Yeah, shout out to the chat. Appreciate all you guys. Hit the like for it. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the tweet, retweet, the bell, the whistle, the whole thing from YouTube. I got Peralta in this game, so either one. Yeah, Freddie, man, he was so good all year. It was unreal. I took him a ton the first half of the season. I don't think it's a shoulder problem, and I don't think he can get, like you talked about, runners on every inning. I don't think he's right. So, but the Brewers have been ripping righties and crappy righties at that. But Willie Peralta is just still 3.6 ERAs, hung in these games. I want nothing of it. I lean a little bit over because, Freddie isn't pitching well. Brewers are hitting, and the Tigers are pesky, like you talked about. And they're almost plus 200. So, I'm going to stay off this completely. But I'd maybe take a shot with the Tigers. Yeah, and I'd lean a little bit on the over. It's at 9 now, but it is even money. Shout out to Kevin. Thanks for the dono, $6.99. We appreciate it, my guy. Regular. Thank you.
Yeah, they're a game above 500 at home this year as well, Detroit. And look, just ask Tampa Bay. They are a team that's, even though they've been out of the playoffs pretty much the entire year, this Tigers team has been very, very scrappy. Very, very. I think it's actually been a good. You wouldn't think. What are you talking about? They're 68 and 76 on the year. How can you call this a great managing job by AJ Hinch? Do you see the roster? I think he's been able to get this much out of the Tigers. It's remarkable, to be honest with you. And they're right in pretty much every game they play. So Kevin DeFreitas, yes, thank you for the dono. Slick Rick as well. Slick Rick, the Rula, $4.99 dono. We appreciate that.
No big show today, so no, can't hit the dono train.
Well, I will, but it's $10 or more for me to hit it.
Oh, you can hit the button. I forgot.
Yeah, for the bigger ones. We save it for the bigger ones. So we don't bring Thomas the Tank Engine out for nothing. We gotta get the bigger donos. But no, we appreciate that, Slick Rick.
Slick Rick, regular man.
Slick Rick, we appreciate that. No question. Thank you for the support. Hit the like button. Make sure you do that before the show ends. All right, we move on to the Yankees and the Orioles. The New York Yankees with Garrett Cole on the mound here against Alexander Wells, the lefty for Baltimore. Yankees opened minus 310. They're up to minus 340 in this one. The total 9.5 across the board. The New York Yankees got just a enormous victory. I mean, nothing has been going right for them for the better part of the last few weeks, and to rally back from 5-0 down, beat the Twins yesterday 6-5. it's at least maybe the start of them maybe trying to turn this ship around. They have now fallen to a point where they're tied for with Boston for the second AL wildcard spot. And both of those teams are now a game back of the Toronto Blue Jays, who have the first wildcard spot in the American League, which is hard to believe if you look at where the standings a few weeks ago, where the Jays were. It's an unbelievable turnaround. So we'll see if the Yankees can, get some pep in their step, some confidence from that comeback win against Minnesota yesterday. By the way, they've gone 5 straight overs in New York Yankees games as of late. Every Mets game went over the total over the weekend. Yesterday's game goes over the total. That's where I'm looking. Over 9.5 here in this one. I know there's a lot of games that stand out as potential overs tonight for me. This is another one here with the Yankees and the Orioles. The one concern, of course, is obviously you're going up against Garrett Cole, who's obviously good enough to maybe shut down this Orioles team completely. But he did struggle in his last start against the Jays a little bit. 3 runs, 5 hits, 3.2 innings. But against the Orioles, when he faced them back in April, it's the only time he's faced Baltimore this year. He shut him out in 7 innings. Does concern you a little bit. But the Yankees, what can they do against Alexander Wells, who has been not great, to be honest with you? 7.15 ERA, 5.4 ERA at home this year. You look at his starts; he's made 4 starts for the Baltimore Orioles this year. He hasn't pitched deep, and he has allowed 15 runs over just it looks like 17 innings. So that's not very good for Alexander Wells going into this start. And he got clubbed by the Yankees back on August the 3rd, giving up 6 runs, lasting just 2.1 innings. The Yankees won that game 13-1. So I think the Yankees can get a good deal of this total by themselves. We saw Baltimore's pitching over the weekend against the Blue Jays. Now, I know the Yankees lineup has not been hitting like the Jays have the last couple of weeks, but the fact they came back, they got 6 runs on the board, beat the Twins, and Aaron Judge, a big-time 3-run home run in that game to tie it up. Maybe some signs that the Yankees lineup is still potent. I mean, they just haven't hit like it for a couple weeks. Maybe they've seen the abyss. They've gone through the abyss. They've gone through the slump, and now they're ready to start hitting again. I think maybe we saw signs of that yesterday in that comeback against Minnesota. It's not like Baltimore's pitching is all that trustworthy to shut them down anyway. I mean, the Baltimore pitching, to say they were embarrassing against Toronto over the weekend, that's an understatement. When you're giving up 22 spots and when you're allowing a team to outscore NFL football teams on Sunday against you, that's not good. So I like over 9.5 here a little bit. I just hope the Orioles can get something across home plate against Cole and that bullpen. I think they can, though, because that Yankee bullpen's spotty, and it's been that way for a while. Connor Mack, what do you think here, Yankees, Orioles?
Yeah, Cole left with that hamstring thing. I mean, Wells has been horrible. And you talked about the Yankee lineup. I think it was ice cold, and a lot of those guys are streaky. We brought up last week Stanton, Gallo, a lot of swing and miss or homers or big hits. So maybe they're getting hot. The Blue Jays went through that. They didn't score any runs for a long time. Now they're just smashing it, the past week. So maybe the Yankees finally getting hot and scoring some runs. I lean the over. I don't know if I could take it. I think the Orioles should score. Coles own them, but minus 350, no way I could take the Yankees. Run line, they're minus 210. I mean, if you're on a shot, have some nuts, take the Orioles, almost plus 300. It's crazy, but man, it's tempting for me. So that's what I might lean. And I lean over, like you talked about. I can't take it today. Too many games.
Yeah, you know what? If the Yankees don't make the playoffs, that's a total embarrassment because of the way their schedule lines up. They've got the Orioles. They've got Cleveland, who can't hit a lick right now after that, and they're struggling. And then they've got Texas. That's their next 3 series, the New York Yankees. I mean, you got to make some hay now in the standings. You got to put some wins on the board. That's a schedule. You couldn't have drawn up a better, easier schedule over the next week or so than that. Are you kidding me? Baltimore, Cleveland, Texas? I mean, talk about 3 series where this team should be able to get, their shit together, and get back on track a little bit. So they couldn't have walked into a better situation over the next week in terms of how their schedule lines up for them. But, they've still got to go out there and get the wins. And we'll see if they can do that starting tonight. We move on now to Miami, Washington. Jesus Luzardo, Eric Fetty, the pitching matchup. Washington minus 140, home favorites, 8.5 the total in this one. It's another broken record over the total. Two pitchers I don't trust. I don't trust Eric Fedde. Eric Fedde's really gone backward. His last few starts, he's been roughed up repeatedly. 6 runs to the Mets in 5 innings, 7 runs to the Mets again in 3 innings. 4 runs, 5 hits, and 6 innings to Atlanta, 7-6 loss. Fedde starts have gone over at a 7-1 clip in his last 8 starts. On the flip side, you've got Jesus Luzardo, who is pitching a little bit better lately. Last 3 starts, 2.6 ERA. I give him credit. But on the road, his ERA is 13. All right? All of those good starts were in Miami. Get him on the road, he's terrible. 13.6 ERA. That's not a misprint. His road ERA, Jesus Luzardo, is 13.5 this year. He's a lefty. Who hits lefties pretty decently? Oh, yeah, Washington. Over 8.5 for me. Very reasonable total. We're not asking for 6-5. We're not asking for 7-6. We get 4 runs apiece from these teams. We get a 5-4 ball game. We hit the over. I think it's more than doable. Over 8.5. What do you think, Conor Mac? Washington, Miami.
Yeah, I think it was 3 weeks ago these guys pitched, or Fedde and somebody else. I thought it was Luzardo, and it didn't get over the total. Drove me nuts. It should with these 2 guys on the mound, and Fedde's kind of been fed into the year. He's been giving up runs. You talked about Luzardo, gave up 5 runs to the Nats. What was that, August 24th? 10 hits, 4 2/3. I think the over is good. Of course, the 3.5 is going to have a ton of juice, but I look at a lefty like Luzardo. I take the Nats team total. One thing all year I've taken that, and it's been profitable all year long for me. The 4.5's right around even money, -105. I looked at the Nats team total, and this one over 4.5 is a good number. But the Marlins, Fedde has had the Marlins number.
Yes.
Someone wrote in the chat. And look,
Noel is right. That
lineup, yeah. So I'd rather lean with the Nats team total, but I don't blame you. 2 shitty pitchers.
Yeah, it goes back to the old saying, though, that I've said many times on this show. Current form supersedes past track record against a particular team. And the current form for Fedde is pretty miserable right now. So that's why I'm on the over. I respect the fact that he's shut down the Marlins previously. And I get it. The Marlins sometimes offensively, they are capable of being shut down. We know that. But the current form for Fedde is awful. Okay, right now. He's just not feeling it. And he is not. See, someone, too, that's thrown a lot of innings this year. He has good numbers against the Marlins, but again, current form will always override the past history for a pitcher against a particular lineup. So hopefully that comes into play here tonight to help this game get over the total. All right, we continue on. Chicago Cubs, Philadelphia Phillies, Adrian Sampson, Kyle Gibson. We've got the Phillies -200, 205 home favorites. 9.5. I hate to be broken record, but I'd lean over the total here too. Kyle Gibson is hitting a wall. I think he's had a great season. Texas got way more. Philadelphia, for the most part, has gotten way more out of him than we've expected this year. But the last 2 starts, you talk about warning signs. 11 runs in the last 10 innings. For Kyle Gibson, is he hitting a wall? Again, these are guys that have been, horses for their teams. They've thrown a lot of innings. And now they're at the point where maybe they're running out of gas a little bit. I'm starting to see that in Kyle Gibson a little bit. On the other side, you've got Adrian Sampson, who has made 2 spot starts for the Cubs, 3 runs allowed in 9 innings. He's actually pitched okay, in these spot starting roles for the Chicago Cubs in those 2 outings. So we'll see if he can keep that rolling here. Unfortunately, the Cubs aren't playing great, but they were actually on a good run, but they've now lost 4 of their last 5. They got swept at home by the San Francisco Giants. They pretty much got buried in that game. And as Rodney Barton in our chat is quick to mention, these teams have gone over the total head-to-head against each other, 6 straight over the total. That's where I'm leaning here. Over 9, -120. Some spots have moved to 9.5. Either way, I feel like I should not be here and just put a tape in the tape recorder and hit play and rewind over and over again, because I'm saying over the total, over the total, over the total in so many of these games. But that's honestly the only way I would bet it. I think all these games, I'm saying over the total every game. I think it makes sense logically in all these games with the way the pitching matchups are today. What do you think, Conor Mac? Cubs, Phillies.
Yeah, this one's kind of interesting to me. It's a stay off I could see it going under early. Gibson pitching better, even though he hasn't been good in those last 2 starts. And Sampson, a guy who has journeyman, hasn't been very good. I mean, he's pitched well, like you talked about the last few. But the Cubs, yeah, their defense is horrible. They give up a shit ton of runs, especially late in that. The Giants scored a ton in that series where they got swept. I lean the over, but I don't love it. I could see this going under. This was a quick cross off for me. And if I were to take a side, it'd only be the Cubs at plus 185.
All right. And by the way, wind blowing out to left center at Citizens Bank tonight in Philadelphia. So that will enhance potentially the chances of this game being higher scoring as well. We move on now to the Tampa Bay Rays and the red-hot Toronto Blue Jays. Wow, I thought maybe they'd cool off after just embarrassing Baltimore's pitching staff, and the offense just kept on rolling last night against a very good Tampa Bay team. We'll see if they can keep it up tonight. Drew Rasmussen for the Rays, Jose Barrios for the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays minus 140, home favorites, 9 the total in this one. God damn it, it's another over. It is. It's leaning that way. There's certainly no way I'm betting Toronto under the total right now. Not with this offense. Rasmussen's been capable for this Rays team, no question. But again, this Blue Jays group right now, they're finding ways to hit anybody at the moment. Rasmussen's been good, but can he keep it up here is going to be the question against this Blue Jays lineup. Barrios is one of those guys that, the Rays have seen him a bunch now. He's kind of struggled against the Rays in the past. He has pitched better lately, 1-3-2 runs in his last 3 starts. And at Rogers Center, most of the time his starts have been very good here in this ballpark. Really the only bad start he's made at Rogers Center here in Toronto since joining the Blue Jays was against the White Sox, where he gave up 4 runs in 3 innings. Other than that, he's been solid. But it's over or pass for me with Blue Jays games until further notice. Connor Mack, what do you think here, Rays Blue Jays?
Yeah, Barrios, this guy pitches well. I mean, when I watch him, he does have good stuff, and I just think he can get ripped, and he walks guys and can look bad. He's pitched well his last 3. I just can't do it with the Blue Jays. I know they're red hot. I knew they won again, but I think the Rays are the better team, and they're plus 130. I just don't know if I want to take it first 5 or a full game here. I haven't decided, and nothing on the total. And I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't run into the under, but who knows in this one? Rasmussen's pitched well, so that's why I think getting the Rays at plus 130, I think would be a little bit pissed off today, and maybe get the win. But I don't blame anyone. I mean, the Jays are red hot, and I got waxed yesterday with it, so.
You're off it today, but Rasmussen's been good. But boy, I mean, the Blue Jays have been hitting everything and every pitcher lately. So when they're in this kind of role offensively, until I see them cooled off, I'm not rushing to say, "Oh, is this the day they stop hitting?" No, I just wait until they have a day where they stop hitting, and then maybe you go against them. But that's where I'm at right now with the Jays at the moment, with the way their lineup is absolutely killing it right now. The Cardinals and the Mets. You talk about a huge game and a huge series. This is it. The Cardinals still right in the hunt for the wild card. It's Woodford on the mound for the Cardinals here. Jake Woodford, Marcus Stroman for the Mets. Mets minus 170. Home favorites in this game. The total right now currently 8 across the board in this one. Playoff type of game last night, but St. Louis gets the job done 7-0. They pull away late. Adam Wainwright continues to be a marvel this year. It's been an unreal second half of the year for Adam Wainwright for the Cardinals, and he leads them to another win last night. Jake Woodford on the mound here for St. Louis in this game. He's coming off a spot. He had made 3 spot starts in July, and then came back, made a spot start for the Cardinals 5 days ago against the Dodgers. Actually didn't pitch that bad. 1 run, 3 hits in 4 innings against a good Dodgers lineup. Mets have never seen him. On the other side, Marcus Stroman. You got to give this guy credit. Yeah, he's annoying. Yeah, he flaps his gums a bit too much. I get that. He can be a little bit of a, it's that little fly. You would just want to swat him every now and then with his temper every now and then. But he's been good. And he's been arguably the most consistent starting pitcher in this Mets rotation, at least after Jake DeGrom got injured. 2.87 ERA overall, 2.96 home ERA for Stroman. In his recent starts, he has given up 3 runs or less now in 7 consecutive outings. The under has been just incredible with Stroman on the mound. How about 16-10 to the under this year at Citi Field? In Marcus Stroman starts, the under is 9-2. overall. So it's been an under machine. So you talk about it, Ian, Mr. Over. This ain't it. This ain't one of them. Finally, we've hit a game where I don't like the over. This is that game. I would lean, actually, believe it or not, first 5 under here. Woodford is the concern, but the Mets lineup's equally concerning because, look, they get shut out last night. They're not a lineup that one day to the next. Look, they bombed the Yankees, 3 home runs for Lindor, Sunday Night Baseball, and they don't even get a single run collectively as a team last night. That's what it is with the Mets sometimes. One game to the next, you don't know what you're going to get with that feast or famine lineup. So I would lean a little under the total here. Connor, what do you think with Cardinals and Mets?
Yeah, I got to go back to it. That'd be my only play here. You just gave the numbers at Citi Field and with Stroman on the mound. I trust the Cardinals with the bats a little bit more, but I like that Stroman's on the mound. And the Mets, there's no way you could take the Mets at this price, the way they're playing, the way they're hitting. Woodford has pitched well his last 2 starts, but he's got me, and just in the last month before that. So that scares the shit out of me. But there's only one, like you talked about, that's the first 5 under 4.5. And for the side, I'd only be on the Cardinals. And I think it'd be a tight scoring game. So give me the under here at Citi Field. Shout out Cheshire Cat with the $5 super sticker. Hell yeah, we appreciate it. One of the regulars, always here every day. Thanks, my guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to that. No question about it. Thanks for the Cheshire Cat. Someone that's watched my content and videos for years. Whatever show, whatever platform, it hasn't mattered. Cheshire Cat is there, so we appreciate the support. Thank you very much. All right, we move on now to the Rockies and the Braves. John Gray on the mound for the Colorado Rockies, and we have Touki Toussaint here for the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta minus 150, home favorites here, 9 the total in this game. Atlanta, of course, trying to make sure they cement their status as likely winners of the NL East. They still have work to do, but do we really trust the Phillies or Mets to come back against them? I'm not so sure I do, and they're far back, both of them. Phillies 4.5, Mets 5.5 games back. It's probably Atlanta's division at this point. They'll have Touki Toussaint on the mound for them here tonight in this game. Remember, Touki just faced the Colorado Rockies in Colorado 12 days ago, and he got rocked, no pun intended. 5 runs, 6 hits in 3 innings against Colorado. Touki allowed in that game, but he bounced back pretty well last start. He did have a lot of control issues, though. That's the one problem there. 4 walks, 3 innings in that one. So struggled with his control, struggled with his command. John Gray on the other side for the Rockies, 4.25 ERA overall. Last 2 starts have been better for him against the Giants and against the Dodgers. We'll see if he can pitch well here, but only a 4.84 ERA. Toussaint with a 5 ERA at home. This is another game where kind of lean over here with Atlanta's track record of going over the total at home this year, which has been significant. 38-26 to the over for Atlanta in their home games this year. And Gray has not been rock steady as of late overall, and his road ERA is only 4.84, which isn't great. And Touki, he's labored. He had control issues in his last start and has a 5.21 ERA here at home in Atlanta. So at 9, I would lean over the total. There's some other overs I like more than this one, but a lukewarm opinion here. Rockies Braves over 9. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know if the full total, a lot of guys in the chat. Yeah, I'm looking at that Braves, their team total 4.5. With Gray on the road, sometimes he pitches really well or he can get hit around. So yeah, I lean the Braves team total here. The Rockies could be sneaky. They've won more games on the road lately, but still they're not very good on the road, and it's only plus 140. I kind of wanted more to take the Rockies. So I think the game's kind of a toss-up. Touki could get hit as well. So yeah, maybe the full game gets over the 9. It's one I'm still thinking about.
All right, we move on now to the next one as we continue on on this Tuesday MLB card. This is the second game of the day-night doubleheader, Cleveland, Minnesota. Logan Allen, Charlie Barnes. We've got Minnesota minus 120, home favorites, 7.5 the total in this one. These are 2 pitchers that should get hit, but the Twins aren't hitting lefties very much lately. Cleveland's not hitting anything or anybody lately. I think I'd just rather pass. I mean, this in theory should be a potential over. You got guys with ERAs above 6, Logan Allen above 6 ERA, Charlie Barnes an above 6 ERA, but you've got equally suspect, questionable lineups from one game and one day to the next. And you're already seeing the first game, albeit the pitchers aren't bad in that first game that's going on right now. McKenzie's been pitching well for Cleveland. This Joe Ryan kid's actually pitched very well for Minnesota as well. So to see that game being 1-1 in the 6th inning isn't shocking. But, I mean, these two pitchers, I could only go over 7.5. Their numbers are that bad. But the lineups, I mean, the Twins don't always hit lefties. In fact, lately they haven't. Cleveland's not hitting anybody right now. So that's the issue. I lean over 7.5, but the lineup's current form-wise, not great. What do you think, Connor, Matt? Game 2, Cleveland, Minnesota.
Yeah, 2 bum pitchers for sure. But yeah, 2 lineups that aren't hitting. You know me and the doubleheaders. Pass. Let's roll the next one.
Quick pass. I agree. I probably should score runs, those teams. But, I mean, you look at it again, Cleveland lately offensively. Look at this. Look at this Cleveland team. 2-0-0-3-0-1. I mean, how can you go over the total when you're seeing game after game, just very little, if any, offense? And even the Twins, like I said, against lefties, that's where they've had a harder time lately. So that's why it's tough to pull the trigger on that game over the total. Next up, we've got Houston and Texas. Zach Greinke, don't lose that fastball for the Astros. Jordan Lyles for Texas. We've got Houston minus 205 road favorites, 9 the total in this game. Houston just bombing our guy Spencer Howard yesterday. I mean, that game was over early. Talk about awful. And that's what I said yesterday with Ski Profit and with Conor, and Ski, good on Ski, because he said, as much as I want to take Texas, I don't want to back them before the game because we're worried right now about this Spencer Howard guy, that he could get ripped early on. And that's why I said, if you like Houston, take first 3 innings. And he easily won that if you took Houston in that first 3 innings, because Howard was out of there, and it was just a romp from there, 15-1 for the Houston Astros. We'll see how Zach Greinke fares in this game. He's kind of been up and down lately for the Astros. Last start was rough for him against this Texas team. August 29th was his last start against Texas. 6 runs, 9 hits, only lasted 4 innings in that start. So Greinke struggling against Texas. And of course, he's returning from a stint on the COVID-19 list tonight for this game, Zach Greinke. So let's see how he fares in this first time in a couple of weeks pitching. You have Jordan Lyles on the mound for the Texas Rangers. Of course, there's not much to say about him in a good capacity. He was a little bit better last start, though. 3 runs against Colorado in 6.2 innings. But you look at Lyles overall, 4.81 ERA over his past 4 starts, which isn't that great. A 4.81 ERA likewise in his career against the Astros. He has a 7.84 ERA in 2 starts against the Astros this year. So he's been bombed by them repeatedly. If I had any greater confidence that Houston and Zach Greinke, I should say, was going to pitch well in his first start off the COVID list, I might lay the run line here with the Astros, but I'm probably going to stay off it entirely. Connor, what do you think here, Houston, Texas?
Yeah, but too many questions. I know Greinke's been good on the road, but 3 starts, Texas, 5 2/3, 3 runs, 6 innings, 1 run, and then just August 29th, 4 innings, 9 hits, 6 runs. Like I said, the Rangers play him tough. I'd be leery after the Astros put a 15 spot up. I mean, they should hit Lyles, though, here. I mean, this is the guy. It's a fade, one of the top list of guys that I fade. So, difficult one. Like I said, Rangers play him tough. I could see the Astros team total. That's got me, though, all year, or the full game get over 9.5. And what Greinke are we going to get lately? The good or the bad? So, this game was an easy pass for me.
Yeah, I could see Greinke pitching well tonight because he faced a lot of times you get roughed up by the team a couple of weeks ago. You face them again 2 weeks later. You pitch a lot better. I find that happens a lot. That the guy that gets roughed up in his last start, which Greinke was against Texas, he's still good enough that he could come back and pitch a lot better tonight. So that's why I'm totally staying off this game altogether. And I was initially thinking over, but that's the reason why I decided, maybe stay off it. Angels and White Sox. Packy Naughton, Lucas Giolito, the pitching matchup in this one. White Sox, massive favorites, as you'd expect, minus 280, home favorites in the guaranteed rate field in Chicago. 9 is the total in this game. Packy Naughton, again, for the LA Angels, has made a couple of starts here for them in a spot start type of role. Not bad, actually. 3 runs allowed for Packy in 8.2 innings. Last start against the Padres was quite good. Shut out the Padres in 5 innings. 0 runs, 2 hits allowed in that start to the Padres. So we'll see how Packy Naughton fares here against the White Sox, who, again, we always are a little bit worried about them against lefties, although their proficiency, their automatic, proficiency against lefties hasn't been there quite like it was last year for the White Sox, but still overall, the numbers for them against lefty pitching is solid. The White Sox taking 2 of 3 over the weekend against the Boston Red Sox. I'm not in a rush to lay a price with Chicago in particular for one very good reason. They're home and cool in the American League Central, 82 and 61. I guess you could say they still got the overall number 1 seed in the American League to play for, because they're only 2 games back of Houston for that, if that matters to them, getting the number 1 seed in the AL. But I think it's pretty much a shoe-in now. We're going to get a White Sox Astros ALDS, American League Division Series, where it's going to be the Rays against the wild card winner in the other American League Division Series. So we know these two, the Astros and the White Sox are going to play each other in the American League Division Series. And it's going to be interesting to see if the White Sox, do they have that incentive to go, balls to the wall, full bore these last couple and a half weeks of the regular season? I mean, they're going to win the division with ease, unless they really want the number 1 overall position in the American League. It's not like there's a whole boatload of things at stake right now for Tony La Russa's team. So that alone is why I'm not really rushing to ever lay minus 280 right now with the Chicago White Sox. But again, the Angels, I'm going to pass on this one. Maybe you could take a shot, though. If you believe in Packy Naughton and the way he pitched against San Diego, if you want to take a small stab, Angels plus a half a run, first 5, Angels money line, first 5 for a small bet, maybe you can. But I'm going to pass. What do you think, Connor?
Yeah, that's the only place I'd be. Packy got it done for me against the Padres. But this is on the road. But you're right. The White Sox, this doesn't, they're coasting here to the end in that division. Giolito, almost minus 300. No way. If you like the White Sox, you think they get to Packy Naughton. I mean, look at the team total. I wouldn't mess around with that big number. The 5.5 minus 110. I don't think I'd get to the window, but I'd only be on the Angels here. See if they could get some runs across. The wind's blowing out. So nothing on the total.
Yeah, Tampa Bay, by the way, is going to be the number 1 seed in the AL. I screwed that up completely. It's not going to be Houston.
Yeah,
I thought
they get
Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is going to be. That's why Tampa Bay is going to play the wild card winner in the American League, because they're going to be the number 1 team record-wise in the American League. So when that's the case, the number 1 team in the league plays the wild card winner in the division round, and then the other 2 teams play each other, the 2 versus the 3. Which in this case is the Astros and the White Sox, the 2 versus 3 division winners, I should say, which would be the Astros in the AL West and the White Sox in the AL Central. Bottom line is, it's going to be Astros versus White Sox. That is going to be a divisional series matchup in the American League. No doubt about it with the way it sets up. All right, next up, we've got Oakland and Kansas City. Frankie Montas, Jackson Kovar, the pitching matchup here. We've got the Athletics minus 170, road favorites, 9 the total in this game. Oakland playing for their playoff lives on the outside looking in, just a couple of games back of that Boston, New York, Toronto trio. Those are the 3 teams in wildcard spots right now. So Oakland's got to get going, and they need to win games, and they didn't do a good job of that over the weekend against Texas, losing 2 of those 3 games to the Texas Rangers when they desperately need wins. I ain't laying minus 170 with Oakland on the road. Now, they do have one of their better pitchers going. Montas has been outstanding lately for the Oakland Athletics. He has now gone just 4 runs allowed in his last 4 starts, spanning 27.2 innings. So 4 runs over 27.2 innings is pretty damn impressive for Frankie. Going into this start. You have Kovar, who's been a mess for the Royals. He has a 9.53 ERA overall. I mean, Oakland should win this game. First five on half a run, which Luke Murphy apparently likes in the chat. I wouldn't talk you out of that. It makes sense, but I still don't. I still see this Oakland team as a team that just can't get out of their own way consistently enough for me to bet that. I don't want Kansas City. It's Kovar's terrible, but I'm just pumping the brakes a little bit on taking Oakland and probably going to end up staying off it. Connor, what do you think? Oakland, KC?
Exactly. I just can't go with the A's first five and take them half a run here. I mean, they should hit Jackson Kowar. The guy's not very good. But they're still laying this number. There's a whole bunch of games today, so too big a price for the A's. It's a must win. But yeah, if you feel good, lay the half a run, first five, or go full game if you like it. It's one I'm going to stay off.
And like I always say, must win doesn't equal will win. If these teams were good enough to must win games, they wouldn't be in must win games if they were really good teams, or consistent teams. So that's why I don't like the must-win argument. Oh, it's a must-win game. That's why you got to bet on them. No, you don't. And must-win doesn't equal will win. So always remember that. Although that being said, I can't back Kovar. I mean, he's been really rough for the Kansas City Royals. Yes, rest in peace, Norm Macdonald. He was on Saturday Night Live back when Saturday Night Live was truly Saturday Night Live. It's watered down. It's not as good right now. There's one cast member that I'd go out of my way to watch and pay money to see on Saturday Night Live, and it's Kate McKinnon. She is hilarious. She is gifted in terms of her talent and her comedic talent. It clearly is there. But the rest of them, hit or miss. I actually like Keenan a little bit. Keenan Thompson's been there forever. I think he'll be 80 years old and he'll still be on the Saturday Night Live cast at this point. With the way he's going and how long he's been there, but no, Norm Macdonald was in that gravy train golden era of Saturday Night Live, the '90s, when you had Mike Myers and you had freaking Adam Sandler and the late great Chris Farley. I mean, you go on down the list, how many great people were on Saturday Night Live in the '90s, and it'll never be duplicated like it was. Saturday Night Live had a strong start. The initial cast with Jane Curtin and Chevy Chase way back in the 70s. It was strong at the beginning, and then it went through a bad little stretch in the 80s where it got kind of embarrassing, kind of weak. And then in the 90s, it picked up again, and it was rocking through that Adam Sandler, Chris Farley, Norm Macdonald run all the way to the late 90s when you got Will Ferrell in there, Chris Kattan, Sherry O'Terry and all those. That was a good little group too. I thought late 90s, early 2000s, Saturday Night Live was still pretty strong. Jimmy Fallon, the rest of them. And then it's when it started to decline a little bit, late 2000s, 2010. Sandberg actually was all right on Saturday Night Live. And his Brooklyn Nine-Nine show is pretty funny. I do like that show. But he will be missed, Norm Macdonald. Outstanding comedian, great on the Weekend Update, on Saturday Night Live. He said some controversial shit, but it was always funny. The kind of shit you could say in 1995, 1996, and now you say it, you're going to get canceled. You're going to be called politically incorrect and all this stuff. I mean, you can't just say some of the shit in today that Norm Macdonald could say, as a comedian and on the Weekend Update segments on Saturday Night Live, 26 years ago. So definitely Norm Macdonald will be missed. Very talented guy, no question. Didn't want to make this a eulogy on Norm Macdonald, but it was worth mentioning because it's a guy I saw a lot growing up as a kid because I watched Saturday Night Live all the time in my youth, and I still watch it from time to time now, but just ain't what it used to be overall, that show. So yeah, rest in peace, Norm Macdonald. A very, very fine comedic career, no question. And it looks like a lot of you guys have watched Saturday Night Live, and a lot of you guys, it looks like, don't watch it quite as much these days, which it's probably like the majority of the rest of civilization. Yeah, it's definitely not gotten the ratings, Conor Mac, in recent years that it did back in those. Like Conor Mac, I don't know how much SNL you watched, but in the 90s, that was about as good as it gets, that show.
Oh, yeah, I watched it just like you did. I mean, as a kid growing up in the 90s, that's what I watched. Like they mentioned, Turd Ferguson. We mentioned it on here, Steve's book. Yeah, I loved Norm with Artie Lang on like Stern. Just great. And you guessed it, Frank Stallone, AL MVP, Crystal Lauren. It was great. So, yeah, definitely love Norm. Rest in peace.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Yeah, right. We just can't. And unfortunately, it doesn't matter how much talent and ability on the set of Saturday Night Live you have, you're just not going to see them able to get away with doing some of the skits, some of the dialogue on Saturday Night Live today that they did back in the 90s, because now it's just, you're going to piss off somebody, you're going to offend somebody, someone's going to scream outrage, someone's going to scream, get his ass off the cast. If you do something or say something that rubs someone the wrong way. That's where we're at right now in 2021. Unfortunately, I agree with being sensitive to a point, but now we're being oversensitive about certain shit. It's oversensitive, like to the point where we can't even be funny. And as long as people understand that, yeah, you're being funny, but you're not doing it to purposely hurtfully offend somebody, you should be allowed to say something that's ha, even if it's a little, on the edge. But
yeah, real quick. And Norm Macdonald, love gambling. Huge pool player, loved gambling on sports. Loved it. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Eric Chang, you're offending me. Yeah, there you go. I see it doesn't take much. Phil Hartman, how could I? Yeah, Phil Hartman, absolutely. Talk about it. And all these people were losing them too young. Phil Hartman, too young. Chris Farley, too young. Yeah, great era. I mean, go back and find old clips, YouTube. I know there was ways you could download like full seasons of Saturday Night Live on torrents and shit like years ago. And get full seasons from that 90s era. Oh, was it ever good? Oh, was it ever good? Even Mad TV was pretty solid. In Living Color was pretty good. Jim Carrey, that's how he got his start too. Yeah, In Living Color. Oh, yeah, great stuff. Great television back then, no doubt. All right, enough TV talk. Back to baseball talk. We got seventh inning stretch time, actually. Good time for that. West Coast games, 3 of them left. Thanks to everybody in the chat joining us. Cheshire Cat, Not Applicable, Josh Kosh, G. Martinez, Krista Warren, Lit Picks, Steve's Book, Not Applicable, MMA Locker Room, Whack Prescott, Damon Santore. We appreciate everybody joining. Luke Murphy, Brian Watson, Greg Smith. Thanks to everybody for joining us here. Overtime. Jacko Schofield. There we go. Yes, he's the one that said R.I.P. Norm. Yes, we'll miss him for sure. Great career he had. Nathan Cerna, Danzo, Jefferson C., Michael Robertson. We appreciate everybody joining us. Chris Brady, Jax, Eric Chang, Kevin DeFreitas, of course, who donated earlier in the show. No doubt. Bill McDonald, Rem Most, Jedi for Life. There we go. Got through everybody. Good stuff. Thanks to everyone for joining us on this edition of the MLB Closing Time Show. 158 live viewers. Hit the like button. Make sure you do that on the way out. 3 games left, San Diego and San Francisco. We've got Jake Arrieta and Anthony DeSclafani for the San Francisco Giants. The Giants minus 170, home favorites, 9 the total, shaded to the under. And we're back on the over train in this game, San Diego and San Francisco. Best bet for me on the show yesterday, over the total in this game, Padres and Giants. It gets there with a nice victory by the San Francisco Giants last night, 9-1. Giants pretty much did all the damage offensively against Yu Darvish, who was terrible once again. And now we've got Jake Arrieta on the mound for the San Diego Padres here, who is, I don't know why they figured we got to pick this guy up, but somehow they did decide to do that. I can't figure out for the life of me why, but here he is now in San Diego. And he's pitched just about as bad as he did with the Cubs before that. 8 runs in 8.1 innings for the San Diego Padres. So just as bad for the Padres as he was for the Cubs, and which isn't very good. We'll see how he fares here in this one, but definitely not a lot of trust that I have for Arrieta to get the job done. His numbers are just hideous. 7.04 ERA, 7 ERA on the road this year. Not good whatsoever. DeSclafani on the mound for the Giants. And, he's pitched relatively solid this year, but he labored in his last start against Colorado. 3 runs, 7 hits, 4.1 innings. And he's faced the Padres 3 times this year. The last 2 times he's given up 3 runs in both starts, and both of those games went over the total. DeSclafani, the last 2 starts against San Diego, 6-2, 5-4. The final scores in those two games. I think San Francisco certainly scores a bunch of runs against Arrieta and a bunch of runs against the Padres bullpen, which has fallen apart, and declined recently. But I think San Diego will punch a few runs across the board here against DeSclafani as well. And you talk about overs and teams trending over. San Diego's gone over in 3 straight games. San Francisco is 6-2 to the over in their last 8 games. And the over has cashed in 6 straight head-to-head meetings this year, going back to May 1st, 6-0 to the over in the last 6 meetings between the Padres and the Giants. So for me, it's over the total of 9 tonight. San Francisco, San Diego. Connor, what do you like in this game?
Yeah, even if the Giants are a little hungover, they should hit Jake Arrieta after clinching that last night. He's just horrible. Even when he pitched well against the Padres, he still gave up that bomb that as I needed it his last start to Correa, that 3-run homer. So yeah, it's Giants or pass. I'll be real quick. You can lean the over if you think the Padres. DeSclafani's pitched better, but I still think he's got problems. I think that ankle's – I don't think he's pitched the same since it. So it'd only be Giants run line here, plus 110. You could look at the team total. It is 4.5. But it is minus 135.
All right, next up, we've got the Boston Red Sox, Seattle Mariners, Nate Eovaldi, Tyler Anderson, the pitching matchup. Boston minus 140, road favorites, 8 the total. I ain't laying a $140 on the road with Boston. I said that yesterday. I'm not laying a price with Boston right now. I like Eovaldi, though, and he's the kind of guy you usually want on the mound when you're coming off a loss like the Boston Red Sox were last night, 5-4 loss to Seattle. This is the guy you want on the mound when you're trying to bust out of a mini 2-game slump. He's pitched well in his last several starts, actually. Going back to August 11th, he's given up 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 0. He's pitched really well for the Red Sox. So I can't say I'm rushing to fade Boston, but I'm also not interested in laying a $140 on the road with them. They're just not finding ways to win consistently enough. Seattle's got some momentum. They play well at home. Seattle 42-31 at home this year. You can't ignore that road home record for Seattle. 11 games above 500. Tyler Anderson, is a guy that we worry a little bit about the way he's pitched lately. Not quite as sharp as he was earlier in the year. Last start against Houston was rough. 4 runs, 7 hits, 4.2 innings. I'm going to go over the total, if anything, in this game because it's 8 again. And I said this yesterday. When these teams just go over the total, game in, game out, like Seattle, what's Seattle gone to the total now? I think, the over is 6-0 in the last 6 meetings with these two teams, 13-3 to the over the last 16 meetings between the Red Sox and the Mariners. And like I said, Seattle's on a 10-game over the total streak, 10-0 to the over in their last 10 games. And again, when a team goes on this kind of extended streak where their games are going over the total, game in and game out, there's a reason for that. The lineups are hitting. They're getting big hits like the Haniger home run last night. They're the pitching suspect, and the bullpen is suspect. Seattle's bullpen's been terrible lately, and they almost gave up the game last night. They were up 5-2, and they gave up 2 runs, and that's what got that game over the total. Bad bullpens, and bad bullpens usually stay bad until proven otherwise. So that's why you get a team that goes over the total in 10 straight games, like Seattle, 10 straight overs in their games. Their lineup's hitting, pitching suspect, and the bullpen can't get out. It's not like Boston's bullpen's that good right now. They've struggled for the entire month where they've kind of gone backwards. So I'm not going to bet the side, lean Seattle at this price, but I'm not going to go against Eovaldi, who's been their stopper lately. But I am going to go over the total again. I'm just riding it. It's not really that. Could it stay under? Certainly with Eovaldi on the mound, yeah. But 10 straight overs for Seattle in their games. I've been on a few of them, including last night, and I'm not going off that train until it loses. Connor Mack, what do you think? Boston, Seattle.
Yeah, I want to lean under in this, but you talked about it's at 8. It's different if it's 8 in the hook or 9. Yeah, exactly. So that's why it's tough for me to take this under. The Red Sox, even how banged up the lineup, the COVID, everything, they hit lefties. And Anderson's kind of been Anderson lately. He goes 5 innings, gives up 3 runs, 4 runs. There's a few guys for Jack of the Day. Kike Hernandez, 7 for 29, 2 homers. Shaw, 4 for 6 with a homer. And those Mariner guys, I think you keep using them, especially if they keep giving you those prices with Haniger, France, and even Seager at times. He's 5 for 10, 2 doubles and a triple off Eovaldi. And I'm not going to go with the side. We talked about Red Sox need this win desperately, but I'm not laying 135 on the road. So I'm going to pass here.
All right, going to pass here is Conor Mack with Boston and Seattle. The Red Sox desperately needing a victory. But again, going to ride the Seattle over train. I will one more time tonight. Final game, Arizona Diamondbacks, LA Dodgers. We've got Luke Weaver on the mound for the Arizona Diamondbacks, Tony Gonsolin for the LA Dodgers. LA Dodgers minus 240, home favorites, the total 8.5, 9 across the board in this one. The LA Dodgers, I'll tell you what, it looked like early in that game, first inning, it was going to be maybe a little bit of a rude return to the starting rotation for Clayton Kershaw. But after that first inning, he settled right down. Not overly efficient, but they were taking it easy on him in his first start back in a couple months, 4.1 innings, but got through a tough first inning and then settled in after that. And Dodgers win 5-1 last night over the Diamondbacks. And now they'll face Luke Weaver for the Arizona Diamondbacks, who actually hasn't pitched that badly here in the month of September. He's given up 4 runs in 11 innings. Not terrible. So we'll see how he fares here in this one. The problem is on the road here in 2021, 8.2 ERA, has struggled on the road. He hasn't faced the Dodgers yet this year, but his road numbers, particularly before the injury in April and May, were not good. We'll see if he can turn it around here. Tony Gonsolin for the Dodgers. I give Tony credit. I mean, he doesn't give you a ton of innings. It's going to be mostly bullpen relievers after Tony Gonsolin as usual, but you look at what he's done. He's been pretty solid, reliable, 1 run in 3 innings in his last start for the Dodgers. Overall this year, 2.79 ERA, 2.66 ERA at home. He's already faced the Diamondbacks in a starting spot 3 times this year, and he's given up 4 runs in 9 innings. So not bad, decent, I guess you could say. And the Dodgers have still won 2 of those games as well, with Gonsolin starting against the Diamondbacks. So it's not a game I'm going to be involved in here, but I'm going to end up staying off it because, again, Arizona, I thought that was a decent situation for Arizona last night. Still couldn't get the job done, lose 5-1. So I'm off the game entirely here tonight. Conor Mack, what do you think? Arizona, LA Dodgers.
Me too. I mean, it's tough to say it as a Dodger fan, but the only value here is with Weaver and the D-backs, first 5. Like last night, Kershaw kind of did what he did that first inning, which some pitchers struggle. He's a guy that struggled with first innings. Gives up a run that just settles in, and he can just mow him down. And he did that. And nothing on the total. I think these guys could get hit. Dodgers have been going under, though, like crazy. They win a lot of games 5-1, like yesterday. So I lean under if I were to pick a side on the total here.
All right, good stuff. That is the Tuesday MLB card. We have gotten through every game on this card for Tuesday night. We appreciate everybody tuning in and joining us in the chat.
Hit the like.
And you're right. A good point by Crystal Warren. Weaver's been pitching to Texas, Miami, Padres. Yeah, the Dodgers are light years ahead of those 3 teams from a lineup standpoint.
Few guys rip him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Turner 6 for 8, Seager's 4 for 8. So a few guys hit him hard.
Yeah, I'd be so tempted to look at a Cody Bellinger home run prop because he's got 2 against him. But, man, he can't hit the broadside of a barn right now. What a shocking season for him. And I know there's some Cody Bellinger apologists out there that say, oh, but he's coming off a serious injury. You think he's just lost it all. He'll be – all right, I will give you that. Next year, let's see what he does. I'll give him a pass on this year. If he bounces back and looks like more the MVP Bellinger next year, then I'll say, all right, everything's good. But still, I get it. He's coming off serious injuries, but to be this bad? Really? This bad? I mean, to the point where it's like barely a $150 average hitter right now for the LA Dodgers. To be this bad just because of coming off that injury, it's hard. It's still hard to fathom that it's been this much of a downward trajectory for him from last year to this year. But we'll see. Next year is going to be the telltale sign. What does Cody Bellinger do in 2022? When he's, full year removed from the injury, maybe just a year that's just never gotten on track. We'll see. But next year will be more of a sign of what we get from Cody Bellinger, and if he does indeed have that ability to bounce back. Great stuff from everybody in the chat. 172 live viewers. Hit the like button. Make sure you do that. We will get to best bets and Jack of the Day in just a second. But first, messages from both Manscaped and Southtown 101. All right, Southtown 101. When you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in, have a bite to eat, drinks, live music, DJs, karaoke. Southtown 101 in San Antonio, Texas. Manscaped, promo code Pub Sports. You saw it on the screen. Lawnmower 4.0, brand new. And any Manscaped product, you can get 20% off your purchase using the promo code Pub Sports. Check that out. MyBookie.ag, promo code Pub Sports. Of course, football season is here. And football's been back now for a week or two. Don't sleep on hockey and basketball. It's coming. Next month, it'll be here. So more sports joining the party. Of course, baseball playoffs on the horizon. October is such a fun month. You get football, hockey, and basketball start, MLB postseason. Great month coming up, October. Get ready for it. Sign up for mybookie.ag. Sign up for an account. Use the promo code PubSports, Bitcoin accepted currency for your deposit as well. Mybookie.ag, promo code PubSports. All right, best bets in just a second, but first, time for Jack of the Day.
Well, see you later.
All right, Jack of the Day time. When you look at some of these games, not a huge slate for me in terms of home run props that I really like, but there are a couple that stand out for me. Definitely Adam Frazier against DeSclafani might be worth a look. He's had good success for the Padres against DeSclafani in the past. Altuve and McCormick against Lyles, worth a look, I think, in that game. Houston, Texas. A couple others here that are interesting here for the slate as well as we move along. There's a couple more here. I've lost track. There we go. Jorge Polanco and Byron Buxton have both done serious damage against Logan Allen, and that's the second game of the Cleveland.
Yeah, you got to make sure he's in.
Yeah, make sure they're in the lineup. So be a little careful there because you never know who's in the lineup. Second game of a doubleheader, but definitely would be interested in those two twins against Logan Allen, Jorge Polanco, Byron Buxton. That's pretty much about it in terms of home run props. Maybe you could also look at. No, that's it. Pretty much hit them all. Conor, what do you think for Jack of the Day?
Yeah, you mentioned the Buxton one. I'm going to go Freddie Freeman. He's plus 400. I think that's still too high for a guy like that. We mentioned Shaw for the Red Sox. I don't have a number. I'm going to have to search around for it, but it's probably pretty good. 4 for 6 with a Jack. I'm going right back to the two guys, France and Haniger. France is plus 600. Haniger is plus 450. Still too high on these guys for their home run prop. One of them could go yard. You could also go Seager. He's a little lower. I think he's 400, but I'm going to go with those two again.
All right, it is best bet time now for this Tuesday MLB card. Conor Mack, we'll start with you. What do you got for your best bet?
Well, as many overs as you like. I still love a few of my unders, and I'm going Cardinals, Mets, first 5 under 4.5. I think it gets there. I don't trust those offense. I think it stays under early.
That's definitely one of the ones I don't like over the total. The Cardinals and Mets under in the first 5 innings there. Best bet for Conor Mack. I'm going to go with I was going to go Boston, Seattle over. I've changed my mind. That's in the mix. I was thinking San Diego, San Francisco over again, but I'll pass on that. I'm going to take my chance here, even with these lineups that can be somewhat sketchy at times. Miami, Washington, 8.5. I mean, it's a good number. I love the number. Just to get these this to 9, 4 runs apiece. Luzardo and Fetty in the form, especially Fetty's form, not good. Luzardo, a lefty that should be able to match up. Washington should be able to match up well against him. And Luzardo's road ERA. Keep in mind, Luzardo's good starts, each of the last 3 where he's been much better, they were all in Miami. I mean, can we see him do it on the road where he's got a 13.5 ERA this year? That's his road ERA. Can we see him go to Washington here and pitch well? I got to see it before I believe it. I like Miami, Washington over 8.5. That'll be my best bet for this Tuesday MLB card. And that'll wrap up this edition of the MLB Closing Time Show. Just some things on the channel. We've got we did a Hitting the Books yesterday. Grant Arnold, Conor, Mack, and me. NFL college football, the weeknight games, several games from Saturday in college football, Sunday in NFL. And we've got isolated individual game videos for all of those games now on the Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel. So make sure you check those out. If you have not watched that show yet, that's up on the channel. Lots coming up this week. MLB, we're going to have definitely UFC streaming this weekend. We're going to have NFL Thursday Night Football is going to be a prime time. Live
Jimmy's
betting
tonight.
Jimmy tonight with Rob Bebenick. Thank you,
Nick.
Connor. Yep. Betting with not betting with the bag. Bebsy in the bag. The opening line show, I guess you could say, for NFL. They will look at the entire NFL Week 2 card from a betting perspective. Jimmy the Bag, Rob Bebenick tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Pub Sports Radio. Of course, we're going to have college football Saturday morning kickoff show with me, Connor, Ragu, and DJ on Saturday morning, as always. The NFL Pub Hub with Jimmy the Bag and a cast of characters, rotating cast of characters, Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Ian Cameron's Football Frenzy, Thursday afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. So lots going on the Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel. DFS with Billy and a bunch of them doing DFS shows and videos. Sharpie's doing stuff as well. Sharpie's on the live streams at night. Clint doing MMA.
Diehard
MMA podcast. Yep. I mean, it's we give you everything here. A little bit of everything. Most sports we got coverage on. We're going to have NBA Pub Hub starting up next month in some form. We're going to have college basketball later in the year. And we're going to try to get some kind of hockey thing going as well with
we will.
I've already started talking with Slaughter about something with me. We already worked together on the football show, Hitting the Books. We might do something, the three of us, for hockey. Maybe not every single game breakdown on the card thing, but like our plays of the day, get together, do a quick little 30-minute show or something. Plays of the day for hockey when the NHL season. Me, Connor, Grant Arnold, who's, of course, played hockey. That's the sport he knows the most. He played hockey, college level, at the professional level, played in the U.S. Hockey League, USHL. So definitely looking forward to hockey. It's back next month. But anyway, this channel is going to be wall-to-wall from now until March or April next year, where you have football, hockey, basketball, baseball finishing up, MMA keeps on going. Like all the sports converge at once, late in the year, October, November. This is the place you want to be, Pub Sports Radio, because we're going to have for you. We be pubbing. That's right. We be pubbing. There we go. I got to bust out my we be pubbing voice every now and then. Good stuff. Connor, as always, great working with you, my friend. Thanks a lot. For Connor Mack, I'm Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll see you tomorrow on Wednesday for another edition of the MLB Closing Time Show right here on Pub Sports Radio.